morning light on the kitchen counter is honest in a way people often aren't. It doesn't try to sell you anything. It just lands where it lands. I'm standing here with a mug that went cold while I was thinking about a joke I didn't laugh at last night. The kind of joke that makes the room roar and drains you quietly because everyone's laughing at the wrong thing. If you've ever felt that split, where your mind steps back and sees the mechanism inside the moment, you know the feeling. Being intelligent can feel like a curse, not because intelligence is pain, but because understanding isolates. You hear the gears and everyone else hears the song. You're not better, you're just tuned to a frequency that makes the background noise impossible to ignore. The kettle clicks off and startles me a little. It's always the small sounds that pull me back into the room. Understanding does that too. It pulls you out of the warmth of belonging and into the cold air of clarity. Most of the world swims in three currents: the truly lost, the genuinely sharp, and a vast polite middle that learns the gestures of thinking without the weight of it. That middle is rewarded because it keeps everything smooth. It laughs on time, nods on cue, and sorts life into boxes with labels that are easy to read from across the room. If your mind won't stop noticing the wrong label on the wrong box, you become the person who ruins the vibe by saying, "That's not quite accurate. Nobody invites the fire alarm to dinner." My phone hums with a group chat I should probably mute. Friends are swapping memes about the latest scandal, which, like every scandal, is already being digested into the next day's talking points. There's a kind of joy in that cycle for them. It's a team sport. Their joy is not my joy and their sadness is not my sadness. What knifes them doesn't touch me. What breaks me doesn't register for them. I can listen, I can care about them, but I can't borrow their emotions to feel less alone. And if you know this terrain, you already learned the hard way that trying to fake it hollows you out. It's better to stand in the cold with your eyes open than to sit at a warm table pretending you can't taste the ash. Later, in a grocery line, the small talk moves like a conveyor belt. The cashier asks if I found everything I needed, and I almost say, "Not really," meaning something far larger than laundry detergent. I watch how we all perform pleasantness to keep the line moving. There's a wisdom to it. Civility matters. But there's also a quiet violence in forcing the mind to tuck itself in. My cart beeps against the barcode scanner. The person ahead fumbles with their loyalty card. The scanner chirps again. The rhythm of errands can numb you or anchor you, depending on the story you tell yourself while you wait. I could float above this and judge it, I could drop into it and study it, or I could accept it as the price of living in a shared world. I choose to study. Intelligence can be a microscope or a knife. I'd rather look closely than cut everything apart. Back at the apartment, I set the groceries down and stare at the blank page in my notebook. There's a ritual I keep for days like this. 3 lines about what I saw that most people missed, not to feel superior, just to stay honest. Today, it might be the way the security guard and a toddler mirrored each other's posture without knowing, or how the woman in line put down the candy when the scanner beeped too loudly. A nervous system programmed by noise, not thought. Tiny data points that prove the world is running deeper scripts than the words we say. The microwave beeps because I forgot I reheated my coffee and let it sit too long. Small ordinary pressures keep slipping into view like pebbles in a stream. They're not the enemies of thinking, they're reminders that thinking has to live inside a body, inside time. There's a story people tell about intelligence that gets it wrong. They frame it as a golden ticket to a better life, as if seeing more automatically makes you happier. The truth is less romantic. Seeing more just means you carry more. You catch contradictions, hear the subtext, feel the drag of every unintended consequence, and then you go take out the trash like everyone else. That weight can make you bitter if you let it. It can also make you kinder, because you stop needing everyone to be like you. You stop demanding that every laugh be earned or that every conversation reach the bottom of the ocean. You learn to hold 2 realities, the simple kindness of a cashier's smile and the complex machinery under the economy that pays for it. You can appreciate both without forcing them to merge. An email ping jumps across the screen with a subject that reads "quick thought," a phrase that usually means not quick and mostly feelings. The meeting later will be full of mid-level certainty, the kind that confuses confidence with correctness and flow with depth. And there's the trap for people like us. We think pointing out the flaw is service. Sometimes it is. Often it's a way to avoid the harder work of building patience. Intelligence is not just analysis, it's restraint. It's knowing when truth helps and when it harms. It's walking out of a room still on good terms with people who aren't ready for your conclusion. If that sounds elitist, listen closely. This isn't about ranking humans. It's about respecting signal. If a radio can't receive a frequency, you don't scream at the radio. You choose where and with whom you broadcast. There's a cost to that choice. Loneliness arrives in very practical shapes. You have fewer default invitations. You stop being the life of the party and become the person someone texts privately at 2 a.m. for clarity they won't quote publicly. You learn to love depth that never trends. You study long books no one will ask you about. You walk home from the store noticing how the town was designed for cars, not feet, and you feel a little grief for the lives we can't imagine because the streetlights are wrong. A delivery truck grinds its gears outside and blocks my driveway for a minute, and I catch myself getting annoyed, then laughing at the fact that my grand tragedy just became a very old story. Smart person delayed by box full of sneakers. If you are wired like this, build yourself a 2-layer life. One layer is for the world, simple, courteous, reliable. Learn the scripts. Use them when you need to. Keep your body strong, your sleep steady, your money clean. The other layer is for your perception, the private library, the long walk without a podcast, the messy page where you write the thing you can't say yet. Find 2 or 3 people who can carry a thought past the surface. You won't find them by searching for smart in a bio. You find them by how they ask questions and how much silence they allow. Real peers don't need you to be right. They need you to be honest. When you have those few, protect them. Host dinners where the phones stay on the shelf and the topic travels as far as it wants. It won't be many people. It doesn't need to be. There's another objection worth naming. What if you're not lonely because you're intelligent, but because you're smug? I've had to ask myself that more than once. The test is simple and brutal. If your clarity makes you cruel, it's not clarity. If your conclusions make you lazy, they're excuses. A sharper mind should build a softer face. It should make you more patient with the cashier and less patient with your own shortcuts. It should drive you to learn skills that anchor you in the common world, cooking, fixing things, caring for people, so that your life isn't just a balcony of opinions. If you can change a tire for a stranger in the rain, your philosophy has legs. The traffic outside rises as the afternoon bends toward evening. A neighbor's drill whirs through the wall, just irregular enough to be irritating. I put on a hoodie even though the room isn't cold, because sometimes you wear armor for no reason except to signal to your own mind that it's allowed to do a different task now. I think about laughter, about how there's a first laugh and a second laugh. The first laugh is for belonging. It erupts at cues. It's contagious. It's useful. The second laugh is for understanding. It comes 10 seconds later, alone when you catch the contradiction. Most of the world lives by the first laugh and survives just fine. If your life is guided by the second, you will always feel late to the party. You'll also notice jokes no one has written yet. That's the trade. You miss out on the roar. You gain the echo that stays. I pour fresh water into the kettle and wait, doing nothing. Waiting is underrated. It reteaches the nervous system that not every second requires input. The room gets quiet enough to hear the tiny tick of cooling metal. Here's the truth underneath the curse. I would not trade it over. I would not give back perception for easier laughter. If the price of seeing clearly is standing apart, then the work is to make that distance humane. You don't have to sneer at the crowd to stand at the edge. You can wave. You can bring bread. You can help carry the heavy thing no one else notices until it breaks. You can be the person who says, I understand why that made you happy, even if it didn't make you happy. and then you go home and write down what you really think. The kettle hums again. A sunbeam lands on the notebook and stretches across the page like a ruler. For a few seconds, there's no analysis, only the sound of water and the weight of a pen. That's the quiet beat I promised myself each day. It makes the rest possible. The curse of intelligence turns into the craft of attention when you choose where to place it. Not on the endless feed, not on the need to be understood by everyone, but on the few things that sharpen your life. Good work, honest friendships, long walks, unflinching notes to yourself. There's a reason monasteries didn't fill their rooms with televisions. Silence is an amplifier. It turns signal into shape. So, let me end with something simple and practical. One clean gesture you can repeat the next time the room feels off and the laughter isn't yours. I turn off my phone.